If you're a freight broker or you're thinking about becoming a freight broker, you don't need experience to land your first shipper. You need a system. Most beginners waste weeks of pitching the wrong way and getting ignored and then just quitting. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 steps to finding the right shipper fast, say exactly what gets their attention, and then lock in your first load without sounding like a total newbie. Okay, so step 1 is hyper-local prospecting. If you're in the States, definitely take advantage of this, and then also go in person, please. So step 1 is always prospecting, and that just means finding businesses that need to ship physical products. So when you're starting out, you'll hear about expensive tools like Zoom Info or buying like massive lists of shippers. Forget all that for now. Save your money. You don't need them. What we're going to use is the most powerful free tool that you already have, which is Google Maps. But we're going to use it strategically, and this is what I call hyper-local prospecting. Most beginners, they just Google McDonald's in Dallas or Pepsi in Dallas. That's going to bring you Fortune 500 companies, which 50 other brokers are calling into. You want the low-hanging fruit, okay? The local companies that are busy making products and don't have time to optimize their shipping. So here's exactly what you do. Okay, so first, let's hop into any major city in the United States, or any city for that matter. Let's go to Spokane. So in Spokane, we're going to type in distributor. I did that before, so let's just click on distributor. And you're going to see a bunch of different little pins pop up, and then a huge list here on the left. So what we're going to do is take all of that information, okay? So let's copy maybe like the first few, and then notice how these pins, they shifted to a whole new set. So it's going to start pulling every single distributor that's in the area, which should be hundreds. Watch that shift again. Yep, see how all those pins just changed again? That just means that it's just scraping every single distributor in the area. Let's stop right here. Okay, let's control copy this list, and then let's head over to ChatGPT. Okay, so now we're in ChatGPT. Now let's just ask it to basically organize all that data for us. So let's just type in create a table. Create a table and help me organize this data. That's all you have to do. Now paste everything you just copied. Now it's going to think about all of that. Is now it's going to organize everything you just gave it. And now look at this. It's just going to spit out this nice perfect list of shippers. And you can do this to any city. It doesn't have to be a city that you live in. And now that it's done with that, we have a list of, let's see here. We have 43 different distributors. And you can't really copy and paste a couple hundred. Otherwise, the system is going to get overwhelmed. It only spits out like 40 max at a time. So just keep that in mind. So you're going to maybe have to do a few rounds of this for any city that you zoom in on. Copy this table at the top right, hop into your Google spreadsheet, paste everything, boom, lead list, free, done. And now if you want to take it one extra step further, let's go to King Beverage, okay? Let's copy their address, let's go to Google Earth. So I already went to Spokane, Washington. I'm going to paste in their address. It's going to zoom in to their facility, and you're going to click shift, and then you're going to drag your mouse around their facility. And I already see some trucks, which is a good sign. It doesn't necessarily mean they guarantee use brokers or agents, but you can see that they have loading docks. And you see that they have some box trucks, and you see they have some reefer trailers. That's a really good sign. That means they have freight to move. So yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good candidate to call into. So what you can really do is do that over and over again until you have a list of 1,000, and there you go. You have a free 1,000 leads and an endless lead generation tool that you can use at your disposal, and it's totally free. So you're looking for the industrial areas, like, you know, the ones like they're usually near the highways or the airports, like lots of gray buildings, not a lot of trees. So if you just see a building with a front parking lot, that just might mean it's an office space. So I would just go ahead and skip that or delete it from your list. Or put in a note so you just know in the future to never call that facility. And then you'll see things like Acme Plastics, Injection Molding, or J&R Food Distributors. These are your targets, okay? Don't look for Amazon and Walmart. Look for the names that you don't recognize. Your goal for step 1 is to build a list of, I'd say, 300 to 400 of these hyper-local companies. Write down the company name and the address, and you're gold. Okay, you have your list. Step 2 is the research drill. So this is the step almost every beginner skips, and it's why they fail. So if you call the shipper and say, hey, do you have any freight that I can move? Well, you sound like a total newbie, and they will hang up. And also, you're probably not even talking to the right person. You need to know who they are before you call. But this doesn't mean like spending an hour on their website by any means. You need the 3-minute drill to find 3 key pieces of information. Okay, number 1, what do they make? Number 2, what equipment do they need? And number 3, who is the contact? Okay, first, Google the company name. Like, look at their About Us or their products page. What are they physically shipping? Is it bags of concrete? Is it refrigerated chicken, giant steel pipes? Second, this tells you the equipment type, which is like industry jargon for basically just the type of truck that they need. So if you know they ship steel pipes, you already know then they likely need a flatbed truck. If it's chicken, they need a reefer. That's a refrigerated trailer. If it's boxes of, let's say, like plastic parts, they need a standard dry van. So knowing this instantly makes you sound like a professional who understands their business, because you can just go in with the right mindset and understand what type of question to ask for those specific trailers. So third, you need to find the right contact person. And this isn't, I wouldn't say required, but it significantly increases your success rate. So the person who decides basically which trucking companies to use for their company and is not usually the receptionist or the CEO. Okay, so you're looking for titles like shipping manager or director of operations or warehouse manager. The best place to find this is LinkedIn. Okay, so let's go to LinkedIn, and here we have King Beverage. So King Beverage, we just typed them in. We found them right here at the top. Click them. Go to people. And check it out. You're just going to see a bunch of people that are going to pop up. Find the person that's in logistics. Find any of those key terms that are going to give you some type of hint that they work in transportation. Okay, so let's say find the John Smith of the logistics department. Make note of the name, write it down. Now, when you call, instead of saying, hey, who handles your shipping? Or just like, hand me over to the shipping department, you can say, hey, can I speak with John Smith, please? That's it. That's all you got to do. So what if you can't find the contact on LinkedIn? Don't stress about it. It's not a big deal. If you can't find a specific name when you call and the main line, just simply ask for their department. That's honestly fine. Like, you can say, hey, can you just connect me over with the shipping department, please? And just keep it short and sweet. Don't make a big deal out of it. Don't ramble about who you are, but always check LinkedIn first. Okay, so step 3 is the outreach, making the call. So you have the company name, you know then what they ship, and then ideally you have the contact's name. So the goal on the first call is to not immediately get a load. Your goal is to start a conversation and then just get permission to quote them on their freight or schedule a future call, or like a discovery call, for example, basically to then better understand their operation. So here is a simple script framework that works, and it just leverages the fact that you found them locally on Google Maps, and if you're in the area, that's even better. Okay, so the phone rings, and then the gatekeeper answers, and then you just say, hey, I'm looking for John Smith, who's in your logistics department. Okay, so they transfer you over. John answers, yeah, hey, John, do you think you might be able to help me with a transportation-related question? He says, yeah, sure. He doesn't know if you're a customer, if you're a broker, who you are. I was actually just looking at your facility on street name. We specialize in equipment type, and I'm just curious, how are you currently handling your shipments that are heading out of that facility? And then just pause, let them talk. And you just see what I did there. I introduced myself. I made a specific local observation based on my research. Like, I know where they are and what they likely ship. And this just builds rapport by itself. I asked an open-ended question about their process, not just begging for freight. So if John says, hey, we handle it fine, you just follow up, that's great. Are you ever in a situation where your regular carriers fall off a load or can't handle the volume? So if the conversation goes well and John is open to working with you, here's what happens next. This is the actual process of freight brokering and how you make money. So first, we want to get the lane details. So you ask John to basically email you a lane that he needs help with. So a lane is just a route that's from point A to point B. So he'll include the origin and the destination and the weight and the equipment needed, and then when it needs to ship. And then you want to find the truck, which is the carrier. So your job is to find a trucking company, which we call a carrier, that can move that load. So you'll use tools like DAT, for example, to post the load or search for available trucks in that area. Number 3 is negotiating the rate and then just making money on the spread. So this is how you get paid. So you negotiate 2 separate rates. So let's say you talk to the carriers and the best rate you can find to move John's load from Seattle to Chicago, let's just say hypothetically $2,000, totally inaccurate. Okay, now you go back to John, who's the shipper, and provide your quote. So you need to add now your margin. A decent margin is usually between, I'd say, 12 and 18%. So maybe you quote John $23.50. So if John accepts, you book the load. So the difference between what the shipper pays you, $23.50, and what you pay the carrier, $2,000, is your profit if you're the freight broker. So in this case, $350. So $350 for coordinating one load that might have taken you an hour of actual work to cover. And here's the key. Once you get a shipper locked in, they don't just ship once, okay? They need maybe to ship every week or every day. And if this one client gives you 5 loads a week and you average $300 of profit per load, that is $1,500 a week in profit from one client. That is $78,000 a year. And that's how you land your first shipper without sounding like a total noob. But here's the catch. Most beginners finally start reaching out, and then they get stuck in the one mistake that quietly kills momentum before they ever book a load. So watch this, and I'll show you the warning signs and the shift that keeps your business alive.